All right. So we are week 3 for MIT 228. We are going to get into the simulation portion of our course. I'm getting into the week 3 folder. So we have the application activities and then the chapter 12 training and assessments. So the applications, this week's homework is going to take a while. I say estimate 20 to 30 minutes for each application and estimate at least 1 hour to 2 hours to go through the trainings and assessments. So I don't think this is something that is good to attempt on the day of, unless maybe you start earlier in the evening, like at 5 or 6. You're going to have to pace yourself. I might recommend doing the applications on one day, and then, excuse me, getting the training and assessments done on another day to kind of break it up. But I just wanted to make sure I gave that FYI. I'm not going to do a specific lecture over these chapters. I wanted to focus on what you're going to do with the simulation trainings and how it's going to be graded. And I have in here 2 folders. The first one is the trainings themselves, which you do need to do. And then the second one is for the assessments. So the assessments is what you're graded on, and it's checking how well you can interact with this software. And it's called Medical Office Simulation Software. That's its name, MOSS. I've enjoyed doing the trainings myself. As far as the simulation, I think this is a really good product. But you cannot just open these assessments and start working on them. It's going to be very picky on things, the way you do things, what it asks for. So you do need to do the trainings first. And I'm going to talk about that. And these are the folders to access them. I am going to backtrack to this course content link and click on my ebook link. And let me get this loaded here. So I did have a question today about the coursework. This pulls up your course. Your ebook is over here to the right on the little book icon, which I'll just click on it really quickly there. And then you can click on this guy up here, which I found out is called a hamburger menu. I found that out from doing the introduction to the trainings. I was like, a hamburger menu? What is that? And I guess it looks like a little hamburger up there in the corner, but that's what that is. And then you can access your chapters, so that's how you get your readings. But the question was on the assignments, when you access the course like this, the students wondered, do I need to do all these other exercises? The reality check, the certification review, the test yourself, and that's no. So you only have to do what's in the assignment calendar. Now I do have a mistake in the calendar. It's not a major one. But for next week, let me pull it up here. I had for next week, it says 13 and 14. We're actually doing 13 and 15, and chapter 15 doesn't have an application. So just FYI, we haven't got to that week yet, but just FYI, I will hopefully get the assignment calendar updated, but that's an error, but that's okay. It's not a biggie. It's one less application to do, so I figure you guys wouldn't mind. But getting it back into the course, like I said, the applications are going to take about 20 to 30 minutes. These are really good for prepping you for certification for the electronic health record specialist. The types of questions that it asks are good prep. A few things I just wanted to point out here. When I go through these, I put on this closed caption. I prefer to do that than listen. That's just my preference. So I wanted to let you know that this CC right here, it should work for most of these. I think I maybe had one that was a little iffy on me and it wasn't this type of video. But when you have that there, you can see all the information that you need. So that's my preferred way. And also, when you get through the pieces of the modules and it has like a 2-minute video introduction, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I fast forward that video. So just some tips that you may want to utilize. Usually in those quick videos, they're just discussing why you're doing what you're doing in the application, and it's only like 2 minutes long, so I just fast forward them. So keep that in mind. We got 3 due this week. Maybe pick a day just for the application and then 1 day for the assessments. So I'm going to close that and getting back into my course. Now again, you can click on the folders to access the trainings and the assessments, or you can go directly into the course. When I'm in chapter 11, this does not have, okay, chapter 12 starts the simulation training, so I'm going to access chapter 12 here. And you see here, it says right here, certification review counts towards grade. Well, that just says that in this course, in this MindTap course. So I think that's what was tripping some people up. And I wished it didn't do that, but I don't really have a way to change that. What I put in Blackboard is what's counting for your grades. So now I do think these are beneficial exercises, especially that certification review. But I know as far as timing, I would only ask you to do what I would be able to keep up with. So it's up to you if you want to do the extra practice. Now on chapter 12, I have 2 folders here of the training for medical office software and the assessments. When I get into this training, there are a lot of exercises and not all of these are assigned. So in the assessment portion here is what's assigned. So see, we go from 12.1a to 12.5a. So just because, and I thought I would just leave these here in case you wanted to do the extra practice. I didn't really want to turn those off. So I thought I would give you the option to do that. But a lot of these are doing the same exercises, scheduling new patients. So for the sake of timing, we reduced some of those assignments. Now, we are going to have 12.1 assigned, so I'm going to go ahead and open this one, and this is the training portion. Again, you need to attempt this before you do the assessment. I'm going to start it. All right, it's going to start with a video tour, and I think it's important that you do this to become a little bit more familiar, so I'm just going to go through this. So right over here is your instructions, pretty straightforward. The instructions, even when you're in the assessment mode, are pretty helpful in telling you exactly what to do. This is your simulation area that you're going to be doing your work in. And this is the hamburger menu that cracked me up because I was like, what in the world is that? Why is it called that? And then I thought, okay, it does look like a hamburger, I guess. Wouldn't it be neat if it was actually a hamburger icon, though? I think I would like that better. Saving your activity, that's very important to save your progress. Hints, that's very helpful. When you get stuck on a step, it's going to tell you what to do. You can also look at the solution. For data entry specifically, so, and I myself have this problem where I don't type in everything exactly correct, and it will grade against that. Source document, you are going to use a source document to get your information to put into this simulation. This is what happens when you click the source document button. It's going to pop up here, and I just have to I'm going to go through my training here. Usually you have to click it one time to activate the document, and then this button right here, this double arrow pointing to each other, I like to use that because I like to put it at the bottom of my, right here. So when you click on that arrow, the source document comes here to the bottom, and I can't scroll on it right now, but I can, makes it a lot easier for me to look at the information and then also put it in the simulation area. If I want to bring it back up, I can click on the double arrows again down there. This is giving me some keyboard shortcuts. I'm going to skip that. Down here is your tools area that might be needed for specific simulations. FYI is more instruction or clarification on a step. Alerts, it provides the information you should know in order to complete a step. And the calculator down here is available if you need to perform mathematical calculations. All right, so that's the introduction tour. And now it's giving me an overview of the assignment. We're going to search for a patient in the EMR software. Okay. So here we go. Look for patient client in the top menu and select new or search under it. Then it says select the source document. Okay, and I'm just going to click over here just to get that box to go away. I'm going to click on my double arrows. Maybe it's not. I don't know if it'll let me put it down there. Nope, it's not going to let me put it down there. Well, daggone. I liked it so much better that way. Oh well. Okay. Enter the patient's first name and last name in the name fields. So this is a phone call. You can listen to it, but I prefer to read it. We have a referral from, we want an appointment with Dr. Gill. We have a referral from Dr. Barnes. We have the patient's name is Alejandra Alvarez. The birth date was October 13th, 1942. Okay, so, and I can move this around on the screen, but I prefer it to go down and below where like it did in the training, but oh well. Okay, so enter the patient's first and last name in the name fields, and then you're going to search for the patient is been created or in the system or not. So we have the name Alejandra Alvarez, October 13th, 1942. I'm going to type in her first name, Alejandra. And see, it's giving me a green check mark there, so it's telling me what I'm doing is correct so far. What was her birth date again? October 13th. So I'm going to come down here and plug that in. Oh, nope, it didn't want to do that. So we're just going to do the first and last name. Okay, so it's going to let you know when you're off on a step. It wants me to put in the first and last name and click search to see if there's a new patient. It says click OK to proceed. All right, now it says fill in the who, contact choices, and insurance sections for Miss Alvarez. And then you're going to select the create new patient button. So what we see here is similar to a face sheet in an electronic health record. So we've got these different portions. We've got a contact portion that we're going to need to fill out. We've got choices for their provider. So where she's going to see Dr. Gill, we have to select that. She did mention that she had a referring provider from Dr. Barnes. So we are going to select that. And it's telling us what to fill out. So the who, contact, choices, and insurance. Okay. And let's see a little bit more in this source document. So she used her daughter's email. Her daughter was her emergency contact. She has two insurances. She has Medicare and a supplemental insurance. So we are going to go, let's see, we have Medicare. It's giving us the ID numbers and the group numbers that we need to put in. I just wish that I could put this on the bottom like it's supposed to go. All right, I'm going to open up this primary insurance here. So insurance company, let's see, Medicare was good. The plan name is looking for, you're going to make it match to what the company name is, so we select Medicare here. All right, we go back we got to put the policy number in, her Medicare card number. And so here it says at the beginning, we've got the number, but then she reads it back and verifies there's an A at the end. Oops. Okay, and her group number, I don't know if she had a group number on this one. Okay. So for first insurance, we could put in this primary. Her secondary insurance is where the second or third one goes. So she's got Medicare, and then she's got something called Senior Gap. So let's find it there. Century Senior Gap, okay. We have to find Twin Peaks. I like that TV show. That's like from way back in the day. Okay, there's our Century Gap plan name. So there's the ID numbers and the group numbers listed there as well. So at least I can move this around on the screen. I do miss being able to put it down at the bottom, but you have to go through these trainings first. If I needed to, I can click on Hint, and it's going to tell me what to do. So it wants me to go ahead and fill out the first part of her Who section, putting in her date of birth, her social, filling out her address, her email, emergency contact. Her choices is where her providers and referring providers go. Once I get through all of this, I would click on Create New Patient, which is, I'm not ready to do that step yet because I didn't put all her information in. So, but the thing is, I'm just wanting to show you how the program is going to alert you. So it's showing me everything. I need to put in her date of birth here. I need to put in her gender. I need to put in her marital status, her address, city, zip. All of this is in the source document. All this information is there. So when you get done through the trainings, you can then get ready for the assessments. And in Blackboard, I only put links to the trainings that are assigned for the assignments. So you can go directly here if you want to access your trainings, just so you can focus on what's actually assigned. And then getting into the assessment piece, when I click on this, it's going to be the exact same thing, but it's going to expect to do this on my own now. You get 3 attempts to do a step correctly before it moves on. And this is in assessment mode, so that's why it's a little bit stricter on what it allows you to have correct or incorrect as far as steps. When you get done with the assessment, when you submit it, I wonder if I submit it now. It's going to probably tell me I'm missing everything, but you do get this nice summary that tells you your score, that tells you what your incorrect steps are specifically. So I didn't do any steps, so it's not going to list anything for me here, but whatever you were incorrect on, it's going to tell you specifically what it was, so you have an opportunity to correct it. And you can attempt the assessments multiple times. It gives you 3 attempts, but that is for each time you take it. So if your first attempt's not great, take it again until you get your training down. I will say that once you get through the first 3 to 4 trainings, you're probably going to be okay to do the rest of these without them, because you're doing the similar tasks like scheduling appointments. So you wouldn't necessarily have to do the trainings on all of these, and it's not really going to make a difference. Like if you just want to access the assessment and start on that and just work on that, you could do that in theory, but it's going to take you a lot longer to get a good grade on it, to get a good score. So that is how the trainings are going to work, or the requirements for the homework. You have to do the trainings first, and the assessment is actually what you're graded on. So this starts with Chapter 12, and we'll be working on these assessments throughout the rest of the semester and the applications. That's the bulk of our assignments, but I do have a group project assignment that'll be really fun. Every class enjoys this. You're going to create a medical office as a team, so that'll be good. But otherwise, this is the review of the simulations, what to expect, how you're going to navigate it, and all of those other details. Excuse me. So going back to this week's folder, the PowerPoint's there if you want to access that. I do like all of the applications for this week's chapters. I find that these applications are like probably my favorite activity or assignment that I've used in class yet, because they're just so interactive. But you don't have to worry about doing all of the work inside the MindTap course, only what's on this assignment calendar. So this week we're doing the 10, 11, 12 application and the simulation assessments. And notice I say assessments because that's what's graded. You don't get a grade for doing the trainings. You just pretty much have to do them to be able to pass the assessments. All right, that is it for this week. I'm going to stop my recording.